They saw the one person they did not expect to see in Rome. It was Vicky, Alexander's sister. What the hell is this girl doing in Rome? I thought she told me that she was going to meet Dad and Mom, and here she is among her friends in Rome, Alexander muttered. So he held on to his wife tightly as she wanted to pull out her hand from his in fear. He held her, reassuring her, and then they both walked forward together. Vicky and her friends had just come out from Versace, where Ophelia and her husband wanted to enter. As they met midway, Vicky noticed Alexander's unfeigned ignorance. "Oh, Alexander, what are you doing in Rome?" his sister shouted, as if she did not realize he had noticed her already. Alex looked at her with narrowed eyes. "Are you asking what I am doing here? What are you doing here?" "I thought you told me that you were going to be with Mom and Dad," her brother pointed out. "Oh, yes. I called them and told them that I would be visiting friends," Vicky explained, not wanting anyone to realize that she and her brother were having misunderstandings. "In Rome, really? You are so impossible, Vicky," Alexander asked incredulously. As one of Vicky's friends was coming to give him a hug, he quickly shifted to one side, dodging the woman coming closer to him. "Oh, Alexander," she tried again, coming towards him to give him a kiss, but Alexander stretched his right hand to block her approach and pushed her back not too gently. "Oh, Alexander, what did I do wrong? Did I offend you? Please forgive me for the last time," she begged, but Alexander ignored her completely. "Okay, ladies, excuse me, my wife and I are going shopping," Alexander said, pulling Ophelia's hand as they walked away and left the three ladies standing there. The ladies followed them with their eyes as they entered the Versace store. Vicky, on the other hand, didn't know what to do. She felt like murdering someone, but unfortunately there was nobody to murder because Alexander would get her neck for it, so she quickly pulled her friends and they walked away from there. As husband and wife stepped into the store, looking around, the moment they saw Alexander, they could sense that he was an important personality, and so they rushed to him. "What are you looking for? We have everything," the woman said excitedly, ready to help with whatever they needed. "I need some dresses for this beautiful lady," he said, turning to Ophelia. "Why not tell them what you want?" he urged her. Ophelia requested some dresses. The manager quickly stepped in and took them to where they could sit comfortably and served them with Prosecco. Then they began to wheel in various attires, and Ophelia was making one choice after the other. Whenever she touched one attire, she would look back at Alexander, who would either shake his head or give a nod if he approved. As she was speaking, she looked at the attendants. "I need a gown for a ball in the evenings. 1 or 2 will be okay. I want something elegant and beautiful," Ophelia said. He enjoyed watching her shopping. He wanted to spoil her rotten, and he wanted her to experience what she had never felt before. To him, she was a queen, and handbags and purses of different types were brought to her for her choosing. She was like a spoiled princess. She chose from the selection her favorite colors, the ones that stood out to her. The ones she did not like the design of so much, she returned back to the attendant. Alexander handed over his card when she had finished shopping and paid for the items. Ophelia turned to him instantly, wondering at this man. "Are you not going to get anything for yourself?" "Please get something for yourself, my husband," she said, trying to persuade him. He looked at her and smiled. "Okay, why don't you pick for me?" he suggested. So Ophelia began to pick the colors she would like him to wear. She picked a light blue suit, a cream-colored suit, and a white-colored suit. Ophelia noticed that all he had were dark colors, and that added to the mystery of this man. So she had plans to pick several colors. She also picked shirts, crisp white linen shirts, some with gold striped designs, and some that were just plain. She picked them all for him. Also, she picked shoes. He gave them his card again, and he paid for all. He also paid for 2 suitcases, which they put their things in. So they left the Versace store that day with 2 full suitcases of clothes to add to the luggage they already had. As soon as they stepped out, the driver of the limo spotted them and walked briskly to them to collect the 2 suitcases that they had in their hands. He carried them and placed them into the trunk of the car. Alexander opened the door for his wife, and she got in. He slid in beside her. Once the driver came back to his position, he started the car. "Before you move, I want to take my wife sightseeing. I want to see the cathedrals, I want to see the monasteries, I want to see all the highlights of Rome," Alexander ordered. "Yes, sir, I'll make sure I go to those routes, sir," the driver responded. "Why are we going around?" Ophelia asked her husband. "Because, Ophelia, we are tourists and we have to act like one," Alexander explained, so when they got to the cathedral, the car stopped. Alexander and his wife stepped out of the car. As they made their way to the cathedral, Alexander turned to his wife and said, "I'm not religious, but should we say some prayers for our marriage? That's a good idea, right?" Alexander asked her. Ophelia looked at him. "Where is my husband? I need my husband to come back to me," she said. And instantly Alexander started laughing. "Oh, I understand, okay. Let's go," he said, holding her by the hand and pulling her with him into the cathedral. When they got in, they saw statues that had been created over 100 years ago, different markings on the glass designing the place but yet telling a story of the artistic nature of the cathedral. So they walked back to where the limo was parked and got in. The driver took them around. They went to a marketplace where people sold different types of wares and tourist items. They went there and bought some things. They bought local jewelry that they could give to people. They packed everything into the car. "Do you know any gold shops?" Alexander asked the driver. "Yes, there is one I know. I will take you there, sir," the driver said. So they went to a store which was located on an island. When they entered the building, there was an array of gold jewelry. He looked around and noticed that the diamond selection was not that extensive, but they were unique. He went there and saw pink diamonds. He saw rubies. The sales rep followed him as he picked one after the other. Any time Alexander would touch something, the sales rep would set it aside, so he bought 3 sets. "Can you gift wrap these?" Alexander asked. Meanwhile, Ophelia was looking at the gold jewelry sets and admiring them. Alexander saw her from afar and walked up to her, standing beside her and looking at her beautiful side profile. "Would you like one of those?" he said, breaking into her reverie. She nodded. "But I can't afford it. I love many of them." "You are Alexander Prescott's wife, and you deserve only the best and nothing else. So go ahead and pick. Everything is on me. Come on, go ahead and pick," he urged his wife. So she started picking out everything she wanted: bangles, bracelets, earrings of all kinds. Afterward, he paid for everything she picked, and then they concluded their shopping. They got out of the store and rode back in the limo to the hotel. "I hope you had fun," her husband asked her. "Yes, I actually did," she said. Not long after they got to the hotel, they put all the purchases they made in the living area. As soon as they shut the door, Alexander went to sit on the sofa. He was tired. "I must confess to you, I really don't like shopping," Alexander said. "You're not the only one," his wife responded. "Oh, you see, we're 2 of a kind. We were made in heaven," Alexander smirked. "Please don't think of that right now. I'm even too tired to start thinking of that and start arguing with you. Besides, I'm hungry," she complained tiredly. "Okay then, let me go place an order." And her husband got up and went to the telephone and placed an order. "Hello, this is room service. How can I help you?" "I would like everything you have on the menu that is the chef's special brought to my room immediately," he said, speaking with authority so firm that the lady on the other side could feel it. "Of course, sir. Right away, sir." So they sat and waited for the meal to come. As Alexander asked his wife her preference in food, they made a conversation of it, trying to distract themselves from the length of time they had to wait for the meal to arrive. Then Ophelia, while she was talking to him, pulled out her box that she had gotten from Versace that day and brought out all her things, arranging them in the wardrobe and in the provided shoe rack that was given by the hotel. She also hung her handbags and arranged her purses in there as well. She took her diaries and put them in one box after the other, stacking them neatly inside the wardrobe. "I will definitely have to have a compartment just for jewelry," she said to herself as she kept arranging things. Although her family was rich, she knew she would never be able to afford to buy these jewelries on her own salary. Her mother never cared about her enough to even buy her a bracelet, so Alexander's kind gesture touched her heart. If not for this mysterious man, I wouldn't have been able to get any of these, she said to herself as she busied herself arranging everything. As she was deep in her reverie, Alexander stood there admiring her, looking at how she arranged everything shelf after shelf, compartment after compartment. He then strode to her and held her, pushing a gift in front of her. "Whose is this?" she asked him. "It's for you," he answered. "When did you get this?" she asked curiously. "Don't worry about that. This is one of the wedding gifts I have for you. I have so many in store for you, and I will be giving them to you as the day goes by," he declared. "Really?" she said, not wanting to sound too excited. She took the gift from him and untied the ribbon. He watched as she did it, a smile playing on his lips, waiting for her reaction when she opened it. When she did, her eyes widened in astonishment. "Alexander, this is just too much. Where am I to wear this to?" She asked the questions that popped into her head. "This is way too much. This is for queens, high-class women, and the rich of the rich." "Ophelia, you still don't get it, do you? You are my queen and I am your king," he said, his hazel eyes growing more intense, making her breath hitch in her throat. Without thinking, Ophelia hugged him. He held on tightly to her, feeling her warmth. They didn't break their hug. It lasted for a long while. "Thank you, Alexander," she whispered into his ear. Ophelia gave him a peck on the cheek while his hand still rested around her waist. "Is that all you give me? Is that the thank you I get? I thought you'd put one right here," Alexander said, pointing to his lips. She pulled away from him. "Only in your dreams," she said. "All right, I'll wait for tonight in my dreams. I'll do it." He laughed loudly. Suddenly they heard a knock on the door.